positive rotation.
Welcome to Roll Call, a 126th Air Refueling Wing podcast of the Illinois Air National Guard at Scott Air Force Base. I'm your host, Master Sergeant Brian Ellison. The Roll Call podcast focused on people,
You guys have a nice flight. We'll see you back here.
mission, and community. Coming up on the podcast, our guest is the Scott Air Force Base Airshow and STEM Expo Director, Lieutenant Colonel Adam Wallace. He tells us all about the air show, what we can expect, the best way to enjoy it, and how do we get there and get into the show. So many questions answered. We also have, I hate to say it, but a little controversy on the show. It involves a popular food served at fairs. We'll talk about it. There are parking passes for the air show that are available. They're dwindling, though, one parking pass per car. But the best way, I think, it's almost stress-free. It's less stressful, is to take the MetroLink to the Shiloh Scott Station or, because you can't do both, the Southwestern Illinois Community College Station, or as the kids call it, SWIC. They will have 10 shuttles running every 15 minutes from both locations. But if you're feeling plucky, you can still drive. There, like I said, are free parking passes available. If you're feeling old-fashioned, you can walk from the station to the show. There'll be signs pointing you in that way. You can find a bunch more information on the Scott Air Force Base website about the air show. I'll put the link in the description. Registration is open now for Kids on Guard 2023. This is for 126th Air Refueling Wing members. It's coming this summer, the 28th of June. Kids of the 126th will be able to experience an age-friendly adaptation of the military, and registration is, like I said, now open. I'll have a link in the description. Coming up in this week's Look Around the Air Force, Secretary of the Air Force stops by Recruiting Command, and submissions are open for the latest innovation rodeo, in which today's guest, Lieutenant Colonel Wallace, makes a small cameo.
The Air Force has published the Global Futures Report, assessing 4 potential operating environments airmen may have to navigate by 2040. Alternative futures include great power competitors continuing attempts to increase leverage over the U.S. while diminishing American advantages, the possibility of technological advances reshaping global power dynamics, coordination between Russia and China for their own benefit, and natural and man-made crises that could drive isolationist and nationalist tendencies across the globe. Planners and strategists will use the report for future war game scenarios to help airmen anticipate what future operations may be like. Secretary of the Air Force Frank Kendall visited Recruiting Service Headquarters in San Antonio, Texas, for updates on efforts to sign new people up for an Air Force career. The trip comes at a time when concerns are focused on the service's ability to attract and recruit airmen to meet the nation's security needs. Major General Ed Thomas, Air Force Recruiting Service Commander, says they're knocking down unnecessary policy barriers to help bring in the best talent. That includes revitalizing the naturalization program with U.S. citizenship.
The Scott Air Force Base Air Show and STEM Expo is coming up May 13th and 14th. Joining me now, Lieutenant Colonel Adam Wallace, the Air Show Director. Sir, thanks for coming in. Are you like full-blooded Scottish with that name?
Yeah. So our roots go way back, like centuries ago. So before the revolution, our family was over here. Crazy.
Yeah, mine too. But we're Irish, English, and Scottish. I always joke we hate ourselves. Sir, What are some of the aircraft that we can see at the air show?
Oh, so the team has been warned. Every MAF, every mobility gray tail will be out on that ramp. That is the focus. We're the showcase wing. We're going to showcase AMC's assets. And hey, we're going to C5, KC-135, KC-10, even the KC-46, and of course, my favorite, the best of them all, the J model Herc. Okay.
All right, the
So,
C-130.
you got it.
What can we expect from those demonstrations from those AMC planes?
Yeah, so the key here is like, we're going after recruiting and also giving it back to the community as far as like, this is our thank you, right?
Right.
So the focus is going to be also the C-17 demo team is going to be out there, displaying like, hey, a lot of people haven't seen an aircraft that large do that cool stuff, right? So we're also doing some 9-line demos. We're having Air Force TAC-P, so not necessarily gray tails, but Air Force members, calling in a strike from, let's say, an AH-64 Apache, which would be kind of cool.
Holy cow.
Right? And then also like what's going on with the statics, displaying, some of AMC's capabilities, aeromedical evacuation, for example. We're going to have flight nurses embedded on those aircraft, demoing, their capabilities. So a lot going on.
So a C-17, what do they do? Do they do loop-de-loops in the air?
No. You're not going inverted or anything. But when you see a plane that large, wrap it up and go, high bank angles and, that thing's pretty cool. And even slow flight for, aircraft that large
Right.
is a sight to behold. So
That is cool. These are this is a 2-day event. Will both days be the same? Will there be different demonstrations?
as far as demos go, both days will be exactly the same. There's some other stuff going in with the schedule, such as enlistments, re-enlistment, that might change up from day to day, but all aerial acts will be the same.
Fantastic. Not only is it an air show, but it is also a STEM expo. How are you incorporating STEM into the air show?
So yeah, this is near and dear to me. This is what I love about this, right? This is probably the worst thing to say for an air show director, but we haven't been really flying planes that much differently over the last 70 years, right?
Right.
The jet engine has not evolved, right? So we're trying to say like, what is next, right?
Sure.
What's going to get kids excited? What's going to get them, from binge watching Netflix and like get them into these STEM fields, right?
Right.
So Boeing's being awesome. They're bringing out some of their new drones, okay? And then also we have the Southwestern Illinois College Precision Manufacturing. They're coming out with their CNC mills. For those of you who don't know what that is, like computer numerically controlled mills. Essentially, you put a block of aluminum in it, you can spit out whatever you want. So we're demoing some subtractive manufacturing out there.
Oh, wow.
You also have your local innovation lab, Elevate's going to be out there doing some additive manufacturing demonstrations with some 3D printing and also demoing some of their 3D scanning capabilities. And really, it's you name it, it's going to be out there. A lot lined up.
Sir, how can folks get parking passes to get on to base, and if there's any left?
Yeah, so if you go to the Scott Air Force Base website, you'll be able to catch a link directly over the air show, and from there you'll be able to snag parking passes. We want to say, be very explicit, we're not selling tickets, you just need a parking pass to get onto the installation. Now, once those are gone, they're gone, but there's still other ways to get onto the base. So what we're really trying to push is the utilization of the metro. So we're going to have shuttles running from the metro stop here at Scott that are going to take you right to the front entrance of the air show. So if you don't want to walk very far, take the metro. It'll be Gucci, I promise.
Talk about the metro, and I know that gate, that's going to be open gate. There, you don't need an ID card to get on base.
Correct. Yep.
During that time.
Yep. So the base is going to be open. So we're already coordinating for that. You will be vetted as you go through the entry control point to the air show. So expect a full security checkpoint.
Sir, you mentioned all the static display and the planes that are going to be there. You talked about a lot of the AMC planes, but I'm sure there's fighter planes as well.
Absolutely. So we're going to have fighter row. So you'll have all your AMC assets, then right across from them, you'll have things like the E-18, the Growler, A-10s on the docket for right now as well, which is kind of cool. The other thing is we also have, warbirds out there. So we're going to have the TBM Avenger. You'll also have a T-28, some trainers. We have a B-25 Mitchell bomber that'll be coming in. So, and my favorite, and I'll throw this one out there, if you really want to go old school, is the Curtiss Jenny. So we have the KC-46 out there, which is, that's the latest and greatest from AMC. But,
right.
Scott's first aircraft that was assigned here was the Curtiss JN1 Jenny, or JN4 Jenny. We're going back from 1917 all the way up to, 2023. It'll be the entire span of Scott's existence.
Was that a biplane?
It was a biplane. It's a cool airplane, very delicate airplane, but still a lot of history. And, very near and dear to, the Scott historical perspective as well.
Does it fly?
It does fly. We're not paying for it to fly, but we're going to put that thing on the ground. As of right now, it's going to be the first thing you see when you come through the gates.
Oh, that's awesome. So you talk about where are these planes going to be set up? Are they going to be on the ramp, on the runway?
Yeah, so essentially the entire west side of the ramp. So we're eating up all of that real estate over there. So we'll have some maps published through Public Affairs and tagged to the website. There'll be QR codes available that you'll be able to take a snapshot of your phone, and that'll have, the latest layout. So I just want to remind people that air shows, especially when it comes to static aircraft, they're highly dynamic environments because, planes never break and crews are never late. And, everything just was going to be executed perfectly. So things are going to get shuffled around. Just be patient with us. We'll get the information out as it changes. But essentially, it'll be the north side of the ramp will be all the fighters. Then you'll have all the mobility aircraft in the middle. And then the south side of the ramp, you'll have all your warbirds, your vintage stuff. And then also some helos scattered in there as well.
Wow, this is going to be a great air show. I can't wait. This is going to be fun. What activities will there be for kids?
Well, through the generous donations of our sponsors, we have an awesome kids zone set up that'll be in the grass on the infield there. So there'll be plenty of bouncy type activities, kids running around. Also, the statics are going to be huge. Be able to pet a jet and just run through and get a tour is there. The STEM Expo, a lot of that stuff is going to be geared towards the younger crowd. So that's the 8, 10 and under type demographic.
Oh, cool.
Right. So, and you're also going to have stuff on the ground. So we have World War II, some reenactors coming out that are going to be dressed in, the era attire, having some Willys Jeeps and stuff running as
cool.
well. Yeah. So there'll be plenty to do. And of course you can always eat too. If you get bored, you just start eating, just like a true American, plow into some corn dogs.
Speaking of corn dogs, what do you prefer on your corn dog? A hot dog or not a hot dog? Ketchup or mustard?
Oh, I'm a purist. It has to be mustard.
Mustard? That's not a purist.
No.
What?
What?
We have controversy on
No,
the
this is
podcast.
not a controversy.
This is controversy.
Oh my
Boy,
goodness.
oh goodness.
What are you,
Me.
Ketchup eating corn dog people in communist Russia? Maybe. I mean, come on.
I saw on the flyer something about Tora. Are you showing the movie?
No. They have a full up act. So you're talking Mitsubishi Zeros and some other dive bombers out there, recreating the attack on Pearl Harbor. So dropping some money on some pyro. So that things are going to be blowing up. I didn't know this, but apparently they just go out there with giant bags full of unleaded gasoline and they just blow it up. So why would you not love this?
They're recreating Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, they're going to recreate the attack
on Pearl Harbor.
Yes.
The Japanese bombing Pearl Harbor.
With a full narration. They're going to talk you through. They kick off the show. It's like, they're going to talk about how the radar site mistook them for a flight of returning bombers, and they pretty much let them on through. And yeah, it's the whole deal, all the way to the conclusion.
There's more to that story than just Pearl Harbor being attacked.
Yeah, the true story is what happened afterwards, right?
Right.
And how the country came together, responded. I mean, we went through this ourselves in our own lifetimes after 9/11, and that's the true takeaway. It's like, how did we get better? How did we move on?
What do you hope visitors to the air show take away from visiting Scott Air Force Base?
So I mentioned two things. So yes, we are out to recruit. Let's be honest. The numbers are terrible right now with recruiting.
Mm-hmm.
We've got to get them up. We have to inspire service, right? So in my mind, that's rule number one. If we inspire one kid out there to join our ranks, then we're good to go. However, the secondary is also we're writing a love letter back to the community. Like, this is what we're giving back. And we don't like to talk about taxpayers, but we talk about, the family that is the Scott Air Force Base area, right?
Right.
So this is our gift back to you. This is our way of saying thank you for all of the years of support and putting up with us. So.
We're talking with Lieutenant Colonel Adam Wallace, the air show director that's going to be on Scott Air Force Base. It's Scott Air Force Base and STEM show. It's coming May 13th and 14th. What time, what's the hours of operation, if you will?
All right, rule number one of doing air shows, you never publish hours.
Oh.
Yeah.
What time are you hoping to start? How about
So
that?
I'll give you the gates. So we're going to open at 9 a.m.
Okay, there we go.
And the gates are going to close about 5 p.m., all right?
Okay.
So, but once the show's over, we'll start flushing people out. So saying, go on and get. But really what we're shooting for is 11:30 is to start. That's
Okay.
weather dependent, right? And wrapping things up around 4 p.m.
Okay.
Now, I can tell you that normally with air shows, Blue Angels, like our headliner, is gonna be the last act of the day. However, we don't like advertising that because if weather changes and we have to roll them up to the beginning, we don't want people to be, upset that they showed up at 1 p.m. and they missed the Blues. So my recommendation to you, be there at 11 o'clock at the latest, and you'll see everything that you want to see.
There you go. Sir, do you have any insider tips or recommendations for attendees to make the most of their experience at the air show?
Absolutely. Hey, so first off, read the signage, please. Whatever you do, there's going to be a lot of signs as you're walking in saying, hey, these are the prohibited items. If you have those on your person, you're going to be turned around. So you don't want to be walking a mile back to your car, right? So there's no shuttle service from the parking lots to the actual entry control point. So if you don't want to walk, we advise you take the metro. That way you'll be able to jump on a bus and you'll get sped out right there at the doorstep of the entry control point. Also, sunscreen. Hey, it's going to be hot out there. Hopefully it's going to be nice and sunny Bluebird day. May, you're rolling the dice. We firmly get that. So bring your sunscreen, bring plenty of water. And of course, if you're sensitive to loud noises, bring plenty of hearing protection, earplugs, earmuffs, whatever you need to do to mitigate that. I have little ones. They can't stand it when it gets super loud. So just keep that in mind and come prepared.
So how has the community come around this? How have they partnered with Scott Air Force Base?
You don't have an air show without the support of the community. That just plain and simple. People don't realize like how big of a lift this is until you start planning on yourself. I know I was taken aback just by the sheer amount of coordination. So, I mean, from the buses to the metro service to the state police and other law enforcement agencies, working with the hospitals, carving out landing zones for helicopters. I mean, it's just astounding like how much support you need, and often at no cost. So I just want to say, thanks for everybody who's been putting up with us. I know I keep using that term, but it has been a huge lift and it has tried patience across the board, but the show's going to be awesome and it's all going to be worth it. So thanks to everyone who made it happen.
Is this have you done air shows before? Have you coordinated air shows before?
I have. So my air show experience stemmed from working booster club booths and being a static air crew exhibitor. So just essentially a pilot just standing next to an airplane. So I went from that to director. So boss is like, good luck, don't screw it up. We're all counting on you. What could go wrong? But
how long does it take to plan something like this air show?
So this starts 2 years out. Really starts with public affairs. So 2 years from the air show, you have to put in a request to get the Blue Angels or the Thunderbirds or some of these other teams. So it's a huge lead time. And then from that, it's just, locking down acts. You're looking at 9 to 12 months out and a ton of coordination. So
before you were air show director, what'd you do before this? Were you brought on just to be the air show director, or were you a pilot someplace in AMC and or in 375th? I don't have to. We don't have to answer that question.
Oh yeah, for a long time I was wearing 3 hats. So I was C-21 pilot, even though if you ask all the other C-21 pilots, they're like, yeah, that guy. Who is that guy, right? Who's Wally, right? That guy never flies. But then the other job was Chief Innovation Officer. So that was, if you're familiar with Elevate, Scott Air Force Base's Spark Cell, the innovation cell. I was the chief over there. But really, it was line of sight. I think I was just walking by the current operations group commander Air Force to do an open house 101 training. So the Air Force calls them open houses, not really air shows. So we call it Air Show and STEM Expo. Some people call them open house and STEM Expo. It doesn't really matter. But ICAS offers a lot of valuable training. There's a manual. Of course, there's an AFI for that, just like everything else. The 10-1004, here's how to do an air show. And really, it's just, looking at what other people have done. Good thing is there's good continuity, stored digitally. So we're able to go back and read that lessons learned document from the last 2 decades and just look at all the other products that, our predecessors had put together for us.
What are you looking forward to as far for this air show?
May 15th.
That's what I was going to say. Besides it being over, sir.
No, so
yeah.
Okay. To answer that question, what I keep trying to tell everybody is that, and what I'm looking forward to the most, to answer your question, is May 13th when we open the gates and those first set of kids start crawling around the aircraft and smiling and interacting with the STEM exhibits and telling their parents how awesome this is, and you see their faces light up when we start launching jets out there. That's what I'm looking for.
So COVID's kind of messed things up. How often do you hope to have these air shows?
Oh yeah, COVID messed a lot of stuff up. That 2020 show, I feel for that team because their show was canceled a couple months out.
Oh man!
So you can imagine all that work. Just whew. Yep. So normally they're every 2 years.
Okay.
So this one, usually what we do is they're out of sync with Spirit of St. Louis. So usually Spirit of St. Louis across the river does their show 1 year, and then Scott Air Force Base brings everything,
Sure.
on the east side the next year, and they go back and forth. So whether or not that'll happen, but I know Spirit of St. Louis is on the books to do theirs next year as well. They got picked up by the Blue Angels. Yeah, I mean, Spirit of St. Louis is great, but come to our show. It's going to be way better.
Sir, anything else to add?
Yeah, just a big thank you to the team and really Scott Air Force Base and the community for even making this thing possible. I keep reiterating that it is a huge lift, and it's a giant ask of everybody. Secondly, Mother's Day weekend, right? Why would you not want to bring mom out to an air show, right?
Yeah.
It's a cool opportunity. Hey, it's free. Bring her out. Show Tora. The Red Bull team's going to be out there, Blue Angels, and a lot of cool high performance demos. And just to reiterate, just to manage expectations, once those parking passes are gone, please start utilizing the Metro. Metro. We have parking reserved over at Swick, over in Belleville, so you can catch it there. And even if you want to go further, Swansea or wherever, just bring it in. We'll have the shuttles running. It'll drop you off right at the doorstep.
Fantastic. That is Lieutenant Colonel Adam Wallace, the Airshow Director for the Scott Air Force Base Airshow and STEM Expo, which is coming up May 13th and 14th. Can't wait to see you there, sir.
Looking forward to it.
Thanks again to Lieutenant Colonel Adam Wallace, the director of the Scott Air Force Base Air Show and STEM Expo. Again, just a reminder for the Air Show, they are encouraging folks to use the MetroLink. Is that what it's still called, the MetroLink? I believe so. For the Air Show, that drops you off at base, and a shuttle bus will be along to get you to the show. So again, take the MetroLink to Scott Air Force Base at the Shiloh Scott Air Force Base station, or you can go to Swick, the station there, and there will be a shuttle bus to pick you up and take you right to the show. Or you can walk from the station. There will be signs pointing you in the right direction. Suicide has no single cause, and no single preventative action, treatment, or cure will eliminate every individual suicide death. But research shows we need to reframe our thoughts and understanding of suicide from isolated outcomes to an integrated primary prevention approach that focuses on root causes. So again, just not one thing. We can't point to that one thing and say, well, this happened yesterday, so this is why they did that. Veterans service members and their families can reach the National Suicide Prevention Hotline by dialing 988 and pressing 1 to be connected to the Veterans Crisis Line. You can find all of our links on Linktree, linktr.ee/126ARW. If you're watching on YouTube, you can also download this on your favorite podcast app. If you'd like to pass along some information about your group, your squadron, your flight, you want to let us know what's going on, email roll call at 126rollcall@gmail.com. Thanks for listening to Roll Call, a 126th Air Refueling Wing podcast focused on people, mission, and community. I'm Master Sergeant Brian Ellison.
500 stable.